Beneath the relentless Nevada sun, Emma and Liam step out of their truck, squinting against the intense light that blankets the barren desert. The abandoned mining town of Granite Gold sprawls before them, a ghostly collection of sun-bleached structures, warped by the heat and decades of desert storms. The dry wind kicks up dust as they take their first steps toward the town, and every crunch of gravel underfoot feels like an intrusion into a place that time had forgotten. Emma runs a hand over her face, fending off the beads of sweat gathering along her brow. This place is something else, she mutters, casting a sidelong glance at Liam, who seems both wary and thrilled by the eerie atmosphere. His eyes trace the weathered buildings lined up like crooked teeth against the horizon. The whole town exudes an unsettling energy, a sense of stories left unfinished and lives interrupted mid-sentence. Granite Gold had once been a bustling hub, brimming with miners chasing the glint of gold. But now it lay in ruin, holding only memories and something else, just below the surface. As they venture further in, the remnants of daily life from decades past come into view: an old saloon with its sign dangling precariously, the remains of a general store with empty windows that stare like hollow eyes, and an abandoned post office with faded letters barely legible on its facade. Despite the scorching sun, a chill seems to emanate from the cracked walls, as though the ghosts of Granite Gold themselves were watching. Emma shivers involuntarily. "Do you think people really just left everything behind?" she asks, her voice softened as though trying not to disturb the quiet. Liam shrugs, though his expression turns more serious. "They say it was a mix of bad luck and worse omens. Some folks think the miners dug too deep and found something best left undisturbed." Emma rolls her eyes but says nothing, sensing a shift in the air. It's as though the town itself is listening. They walk past a battered sign that reads Granite Gold Mining Company hanging at an awkward angle from the side of a crumbling office building. The paint is faded and the letters have been etched by wind and sand, but the warning feels timeless. Despite the desolation, every door they pass seems to be guarding secrets, and every shadow holds a memory that refuses to fade. As they approach the town center, they come across a large structure, a hotel, or what's left of it. The windows are cracked, some shattered completely, and the doors swing loosely on their hinges. A gust of hot wind whips through, rattling the dilapidated shutters and sending a shower of dust through the air. Inside, the lobby stretches out in dim silence, filled with the remnants of once luxurious furnishings now coated in layers of grime. Emma steps forward, drawn by a strange compulsion to explore the lobby. Her eyes trace the faded wallpaper, the dusty chandelier hanging precariously from the ceiling, and the old leather chairs sinking under decades of neglect. She almost feels the presence of those who sat there once, waiting for something: a friend, a room, a way out. Suddenly, a faint sound catches her attention, barely perceptible above the rustling wind. It's a murmur, low and indistinct, as though voices from the past are trying to speak from the walls. She stops, glancing at Liam, who's frozen, his gaze fixed on the staircase leading up to the darkened second floor. "Did you hear that?" he asks, his voice barely above a whisper. Emma nods, her heart pounding in her chest. "Yeah, but it's probably just the wind," she replies, though her voice betrays her doubt. She feels an inexplicable urge to leave, but something keeps her feet planted firmly in place. The air is heavy, almost suffocating, as if the walls themselves are holding their breath. After a few moments, the sound fades, leaving only silence. But Emma can't shake the feeling that they're not alone. Every corner of Granite Gold feels like it's watching, waiting, as though the town itself has a consciousness, a memory of the lives it once held and the souls it never let go. "Come on," Liam says, his voice a little stronger, though his eyes still flick nervously to the shadows. "Let's check out the mine entrance. If there's anything left here, it's probably underground." Emma nods, glancing one last time at the darkened lobby before following Liam. They move through the deserted town, past buildings that seem to lean closer as they pass, as if trying to catch a glimpse of the newcomers. Finally, they reach the outskirts where the land slopes down toward a weather-beaten sign marking the entrance to the old mine. A rusted gate blocks their way, with an ancient padlock hanging from the chain. Despite its decay, the gate feels oddly imposing, as if it's more than just metal and rust. Liam examines the padlock, determination glinting in his eyes. "It's old," he mutters. "Might be able to break it open." Emma swallows hard, looking into the shadowy entrance beyond the gate. It seems to beckon, whispering promises of secrets long buried beneath the sand and stone. But she can't shake the sense that once they enter, they'll be stepping into a world where things aren't meant to be seen, where stories don't just end, they continue, forever haunting the ground they walked. Emma and Liam push open the door to the old general store, which resists as if reluctant to welcome them. A thick cloud of dust swirls up from the floorboards, and a stale, musty scent fills the air, a mixture of aged wood, forgotten goods, and decay. Inside, the store feels frozen in time, with shelves still holding fragments of a life once bustling with miners and townsfolk. Canned goods with rusted labels, glass jars with murky contents, and a single oil lantern lie scattered, untouched since the last footsteps faded from the floor. Emma steps cautiously, her eyes taking in the remains of the past. An odd chill seeps into her bones, not from the temperature but from an overwhelming sense of abandonment. She reaches out to a tin of faded tobacco, its once vibrant label barely legible through the layers of dust and grime. This place. It's like it's waiting for someone to come back, she murmurs, half to herself, half to the lingering ghosts she can't see but feels all around her. Liam, holding back, surveys the darkened corners and broken glass littering the floor. Or waiting for something that never left, he responds, his voice low. He steps over to the counter, where a cash register sits frozen mid-ring, as if an invisible hand had stopped it in the act. Just then, a faint creak echoes through the store, the sound reverberating off the walls. Both Emma and Liam freeze, glancing around, their eyes wide with a mixture of fear and excitement. For a moment, the silence stretches thick and oppressive, until Emma dares to take another step. She catches sight of a dusty mirror hanging on the wall behind the counter. Its surface is cloudy, tarnished with age, but she can almost make out her own reflection and something else, a shadow that seems to flicker at the edge of her vision. Her heart skips a beat, and she blinks, trying to refocus. But whatever she thought she saw is gone, leaving only her own pale, frightened face staring back. "Did you?" Emma starts, her voice a mere whisper. She doesn't finish the sentence. Somehow, she knows Liam felt it too, that something in this place is observing them, gauging their presence, waiting to make itself known. Liam looks back, his face paler than usual, a bead of sweat trickling down his temple. "We should go," he says, his tone wavering. "This place, it feels wrong." But as they turn to leave, a shuffling noise, faint but unmistakable, stops them in their tracks. Emma's heart pounds as her gaze darts to the far end of the store. Shadows seem to gather, growing thicker, as if the walls themselves were folding inward. A sense of dread creeps over her, a feeling that whatever presence lurks here is pulling them deeper into its web. They take hurried steps toward the exit, but a sudden draft whips through the room, slamming the door shut with a force that shakes the entire structure. The echoes of the bang reverberate, almost as if mocking their efforts to escape. Emma reaches for the handle, but it feels ice-cold to the touch, as though something were holding it in place from the other side. For a long, agonizing moment, they stand frozen, their breaths shallow, the weight of the silence pressing down on them. Just as Emma begins to fear they're truly trapped, the door finally gives way. They stumble outside, back into the oppressive desert heat, feeling the sun's light like a balm on their skin. The sense of relief is short-lived, though, as they realize that the chill of the store, the haunting silence, has followed them out. Liam pulls Emma aside, his voice barely audible. "There's something in this town, something that's not ready to let us go." They exchange a glance, the gravity of their predicament settling in. Whatever resides in Granite Gold isn't merely a memory or a ghost. It's a force that clings to the bones of the town, a presence that feeds on those who trespass. Emma shivers, her earlier excitement replaced by a gnawing fear that they've crossed a line, that the whispers of the past have finally found ears to haunt. Let's head to the mine," Liam suggests, though his voice lacks conviction. Maybe it's just nerves, right?" Emma hesitates, but she nods, not trusting herself to speak. Together they move away from the store, but the sense of being watched lingers, following them like a shadow, each step amplifying the feeling that Granite Gold is alive, aware and unwilling to release its hold. Emma and Liam stand before the old hotel, its broken windows and crumbling facade a testament to years of abandonment. The front door hangs open, swaying slightly, as if inviting them in. Inside, the lobby stretches before them, dust thick in the air, muting the sunlight that manages to sneak in through cracks in the walls. Faded wallpaper clings desperately to the walls, and an old chandelier hangs above, its crystals dull and coated with grime. They tread cautiously, their footsteps echoing in the empty space. The room smells of mildew and decay, layered with the faint scent of something metallic. A reception desk sits at the far end, covered in a layer of dust so thick it's like a blanket. As they approach, Liam notices an old guest book, its pages brittle with age. The ink has faded, but names can still be made out, entries from decades ago, each name a ghost in its own right. Just as Emma reaches out to turn a page, a loud creak reverberates through the room. They freeze, their eyes darting to the staircase at the back of the lobby. Shadows flicker at the top of the stairs, and they feel the undeniable presence of something watching, waiting. Without a word, they back away. The silent agreement to leave unspoken yet understood. But as they turn to the exit, the chandelier above them begins to sway, its crystals jingling like mocking laughter. They rush out, the oppressive silence of the hotel pressing on them until they're finally back outside, gasping for breath in the desert heat. Emma and Liam make their way to the mine entrance, a jagged black opening set into the hillside, surrounded by rusting metal debris. The old gate, chained and padlocked, stands as the only barrier. A faded sign warns against entry, but its words have all but disappeared, worn away by time and sand. Liam examines the gate, finding a weak point in the rusted lock. With a few strong tugs, he manages to break it. The gate swings open with a groan, and the air that seeps out from the mine feels damp and cold, a stark contrast to the desert heat outside. Emma shivers, peering into the darkness beyond. They click on their flashlights, the beams piercing the inky blackness just enough to reveal the narrow tunnel stretching ahead. The walls glisten with moisture, and the floor is uneven, strewn with debris and rocks. The silence is absolute, almost suffocating, and each step they take feels like they're descending deeper into a world left undisturbed for too long. As they move further in, the light from the entrance fades, and the shadows seem to close in, swallowing the sounds of their footsteps. They continue, the weight of the mine pressing down on them, the feeling that something ancient and angry lurks just beyond their flashlight beams growing with every step. The tunnel narrows, and Emma's breath catches as the air grows colder and thicker, heavy with a metallic scent. A faint sound echoes ahead, a rhythmic tapping, like a pickaxe striking rock, each hit reverberating through the silence. Emma and Liam freeze, exchanging a glance as fear tightens in their chests. No one else should be down here. The sound grows louder, filling the confined space, and they press themselves against the walls, waiting, listening. Suddenly the tapping stops, replaced by a soft whisper that seems to come from all around them, words they can't quite understand but feel deep in their bones. A shadow shifts at the edge of their flashlight beams, too quick and dark to make out, but unmistakably real. The mind feels alive, as if it's drawing them further in. Trembling, they turn to head back, but a low, guttural groan echoes from deeper within, blocking their path back to the surface. Emma and Liam back away slowly, clutching their flashlights as the groan from deep within the mine fades into silence. They push forward cautiously, knowing the only way out is to find another exit. The narrow tunnel opens into a larger chamber, where the remains of mining equipment lie scattered, broken pickaxes, rusted carts, and overturned barrels. Emma's flashlight lands on an old lantern, somehow untouched by time. Its glass is pristine, almost glowing in the darkness. She steps closer, reaching out, when suddenly it shatters with a piercing ring that echoes throughout the chamber. They both jump back, Emma's hand flying to her mouth to stifle a scream. Shards of glass glint on the ground, and an icy breeze sweeps past them, as if something has been disturbed. A low whisper begins to fill the room, voices overlapping in a chorus of lost souls. Words blend and distort, but one phrase rises above the rest. "You shouldn't be here." Panic seizes Emma's chest as the air grows colder, pressing down on them with an almost physical force. Liam grabs her arm, his voice barely a whisper. "We need to move. Now." They turn to leave, but the path seems darker than before, as though the mine itself has shifted, trapping them in its depths. Emma and Liam hurry down the tunnel, their footsteps echoing in frantic rhythm. But soon, another set of footsteps joins theirs, a slow, deliberate pace that seems to follow, growing louder with each step. They stop, their breaths ragged, but the footsteps don't. Instead, they pass by, as if an invisible figure walks beside them, moving ahead into the darkness. Liam shines his flashlight in the direction of the sound, but nothing appears. The air is dense with the scent of damp earth, and Emma feels a chill run down her spine as the footsteps fade. The tunnel stretches on, twisting and turning, almost like it's guiding them somewhere. The oppressive silence returns, thicker than before. Emma's heart pounds as she and Liam move cautiously, their every step now matched by an unseen presence. They're not alone in the dark, and whatever walks these paths is leading them deeper into its lair. As they continue, the walls of the tunnel close in, and the air grows colder. Suddenly, the beam of Liam's flashlight catches a figure ahead, standing motionless in the shadows. The figure is tall and dark, its face obscured, but its form is unmistakable, a miner, covered in dust and grime, frozen in time. Emma gasps, clutching Liam's arm. The figure doesn't move but seems to watch them with hollow, empty eyes. Its presence fills the tunnel with a chilling energy, a silent warning that screams louder than words. They stand there, paralyzed, until Liam forces himself to look away, urging Emma to keep moving. But as they turn, the figure vanishes, leaving only the echo of footsteps behind them. They press forward, the image of the miner burned into their minds, feeling as though they're being herded deeper into a place where no one should tread. They stumble upon a small alcove cut into the rock, hidden just off the main tunnel. Inside, an old office desk sits against the wall, covered in a thick layer of dust, with paper strewn about, yellowed and brittle. A faded photograph lies among them, showing a group of miners, their expressions weary but hopeful. In the corner of the room, an old safe stands, its door slightly ajar. Curiosity outweighs their fear, and Emma carefully opens the safe door wider. Inside, she finds a leather-bound notebook, its pages filled with frantic handwriting. The entries tell of strange sounds, whispers from the walls, and an endless shift that the miners were forced to work. The final page reads, "We were warned, but we didn't listen. Now we're part of it." A shiver runs down Emma's spine as the words sink in. They both realize the miners' fates were sealed here, in this very room. The mine took them, just as it's trying to take them now. Pushing further in, the tunnel slopes downward, the walls damp and cold, as if they're entering the mine's very heart. Their flashlights barely pierce the thickening darkness, and every sound, every drop of water, every scuffle of loose rock echoes as though amplified by the mine itself. The descent is disorienting, the air becoming heavier with each step. Emma's skin prickles as they walk, feeling as though they're crossing an unseen threshold. Suddenly, Liam stumbles, catching himself against the wall. The impact disturbs something. A faint, almost inaudible hum begins to resonate from deep within the mine, vibrating through the walls and ground. They pause, exchanging uneasy glances, realizing the mine isn't just a place, it's a trap, alive and breathing, intent on consuming everything within. Emma wants to turn back, but the way seems blocked, as if the mine itself is steering them further down. The tunnel widens abruptly, leading Emma and Liam into a cavernous chamber filled with shadows that dance in the dim beams of their flashlights. The walls are covered in markings, handprints smeared in dark, dried stains, messages scratched deep into the rock, almost unreadable, but full of desperate warnings. Turn back, beware the voices it watches. The writing grows more frantic the further they look, each phrase cut short, as if written in panic. Emma's gaze falls on the floor, where objects are arranged in a crude, unsettling pattern: old miners' helmets, rusted tools, and scattered belongings from long ago. It's as if they've been placed deliberately, an eerie tribute left by the souls lost here. She picks up a tin cup, its metal cold as ice, and sets it down quickly, an unexplainable dread filling her. The air grows colder and shadows seem to creep along the walls, taking on forms that almost look human. Liam's flashlight flickers and they both gasp as they realize they're surrounded not by people but by shadows of what once were, trapped in an endless cycle of labor, cursed to linger here. The shapes move slowly, each one a hollow remnant of the miners who once called this place home. The silent figures watch them, pressing closer, and for a moment, Emma thinks she hears faint voices, a murmur of despair, a call for freedom. She and Liam retreat, their backs to the wall, hoping the shadows don't follow as they edge their way out of the chamber, leaving the lost souls behind. With a renewed sense of urgency, Emma and Liam rush through the tunnels, the echo of their footsteps swallowed by the mine's oppressive silence. The path twists and turns, disorienting them, but finally they see a faint glimmer of light ahead. Relief floods them as they realize they've found an exit, but the feeling is short-lived. Just as they approach, the ground trembles, and a roar reverberates through the tunnel, a deep primal sound that feels like the mine itself protesting their escape. Rocks begin to fall around them, dust filling the air, making it hard to see. Emma stumbles, and Liam pulls her up as they push forward, dodging debris and sprinting toward the light. They burst out of the mine, gasping for air, the hot desert sun a shocking contrast to the cold darkness they left behind. They collapse onto the ground, hearts racing, feeling the weight of the mine's curse still lingering in the air. As they catch their breath, they turn to look back at the entrance, only to see that it sealed itself shut, as if to keep its secrets buried forever. For a long moment, they sit in silence, the enormity of their experience settling over them. They don't speak, knowing no one would believe what they've seen. But they both feel it, a piece of the mind, the shadows, the whispers has followed them, etched into their memories, bound to haunt them forever.